Hi, I'm Matt Cole, welcome to the Hub Show, and in this episode we're going to be discussing your favourite tyre brands, stretching before you ride, when you're buying new helmets, and lots more. Let's get stuck in. The first question we asked you lovely YouTube subscribers was, who's your go-to brand for tyres? And these were the options: Maxxis, Schwalbe, Michelin, WTB or other, and then comment and let us know. This one was overwhelmingly popular for Maxxis. 60% of you voted Maxxis, 16% Schwalbe, 8% Michelin, 4% WTB, and then 13% of you said other. I'll go first. A bit of a mix. Mostly I would say WTB and Maxxis I use, but we use quite a few different tyres, don't we, Neil, on the bikes that we ride. Let's see what you said. Michael N says, I run nearly any tyre, as long as the tyres have good tread and rolling resistance. At the high end these days, all the tyres are great. Fair point. Will Does MTB says, any of them really. They all make good tyres for different categories. Michelin for enduro, Schwalbe for downhill, etc. Mike Branca says, Magic Mary's 2.6 front and rear this winter. Super grip. None of this let the back drift out shit. God. Archie Smith says, you definitely missed a big brand called Vittoria, guys. Right, I'm going to shoot the guy who does the polls. He's there. NTA says, on my cross-country bike, I've got some Continental X King, and on my Capra, Schwalbe Magic Mary on the back and some Kender on the front. Forgot the name. I guess it's good though. Adam Van Winkle, that's a good name there, says, I feel like more people would like WTB tyres if they weren't first introduced to their comp series, which are non-tubeless OE equipment on lower end bikes. Their high-end tyres are killer. Fair point, Adam. And to round this one off, Jeff Hildebrandt says, E13 for the best grip on our trails. Cheers, Jeff. Question 2. And this was a good one. When do you stretch? Yoga emoji. And the options we gave you were before a ride, after a ride, before and after a ride, I very rarely stretch, and I never stretch. I am with the majority here. I never stretch. There's people around here, mainly Lynn, who, oh, we always going to stretch. We've even done videos on how you should stretch before and after a ride. Anyway, this is what you said. 12% stretch before a ride, 8% of you stretch after a ride, 9% of you stretch before and after a ride, 32% of you rarely stretch, and 39% of you never stretch. Join the club. This is what you're saying. Timo Celesto, I stretch when I'm close to falling and have to put my foot down to break the fall. Nice, Timo. Thomas Brigham says, I stretch out on the sofa afterwards. Tim from Wales, I mostly stretch the truth when explaining to my wife why I was out longer than I said I'd be. Brandon Cummins says, I stretch before and after if I'm going to ride park or bigger jumps to stay limber. Lord Lurch, or Lurch, says, most of my stretching is done when I crash and one foot stays clipped in. Kuma Rider says, only times I've stretched was when I was forced to in school, and it would always leave me sore for the next 2 weeks. What type of stretching were you doing in school? Maybe best not to ask. Charlie Wilson says, before the ride, if I remember. As one gets older, things tend to snap more easily. Oh dear. David Charpentier, I only stretch during the downhill. Michael N says, I usually only stretch in the evenings after rides before I go to bed. And to round this one off, Gareth Miller says, I don't usually stretch, but the only time I do is if I've hurt something and need to regain my movement, such as after a nasty cramp. Cheers, Gareth. The third question we asked you was, do you use rim protection in your wheels? And the options were yes, and tell us what that is. No, I don't. No, but I'd like to. I didn't know that was a thing. 12% of you do. 42% of you don't, 32% of you don't but would like to, and 14% of you haven't got a clue what it is. I have never ridden a bike with rim protection in. I wish I had at times because I've dinged a few rims in my time. Big boy. This is what you've told us. So Blind Luck XX says, I protect my rims with tyres It's new. You wouldn't know about it. Oh, we get a funny person. Funny guy. Aidan Thwaite says, Cush Core, saved my rims plenty of times. Although I have split the rim in the seams with it in, so I can't imagine what the condition of my wheel would have been without it. That sounds rough, Aidan. Mike Branca says, I used the old-fashioned method of protecting my rims, a tyre, front and rear. Another joker. Oliver Stevens says, not even kidding, I've cut down a pool noodle in my rear tyre. It works great and costs nothing. Well, do you steal it then? Applejack says, Tannis in the rear, just where she likes it. Tom Draper says, I recently both converted my tyres to tubeless and installed nuke-proof ARD on both wheels. It feels absolutely great being able to smash into anything with no worries. There we go, now we're getting somewhere. Tom Draper. Scott O'Hare says, I want to try them for my hardtail, but I'm stuck for choice. Michael N says, I protect my rims with prayer and luck. For $0, so far so good. Fair enough, Michael. Leroy Davis says, just installed Tannis tubeless, as I tore the sidewall of my tyre, so I was running tubes till the tyre went bald. But it's since pinch flatted 4 tubes, so I bought a rim. Come on, till it's going bald? You can replace it sooner than that, can't you? Douglas Young says, minesweepers in the rear of my hardtail. Federico says, Huck Norris, so far so good after 2 years with them. And to round this one out, Trail Pimp, yes, Trail Pimp, you're back, says, I use the nuke-proof inserts front and rear. I really like the performance and flat protection these provide. They're worth the wait. Cheers, Trail Pimp. Next, we're talking helmets, and the question was, when was the last time you bought a new helmet? The options are pretty simple on this one. This year, last year, 2+ years ago. 46% of you bought a new helmet this year, 22% bought a new one last year, and 32% of you bought a new helmet over 2 years ago. So this is what you're saying. Mike Nurse says, got a Fox speed frame lid after waiting ages for them to come back in stock. Yes, they did take a while to come back in stock, but worth the wait, I hope. Let us know what you think of it. Seth is back. My helmet has 4 large cracks in it, so I might need a new one. I definitely think you do need a new one, Seth. Jonathan MTBS says, my trusty Endura single track 2 when it's warm or not doing anything too crazy. And my bell transfer for when it's cold and more new and hard stuff. You mix it up, I like that. David Jennings says, that half shell POC that was like 60% off during Black Friday. Nice, David. Sarah Williams says, I actually bought 2, a POC and a Giro. I love them both. I did have a Specialized ambush, but smashed it when I came off in May. I hope you're okay, Sarah. Alan says, I have a Giro fixture, affordable, protective and stylish. Nice little review there. Will does MTB, Bontrager's top spec wave cell helmet with the built-in GoPro and light mount. Nice. I got the limited edition purple one. Oh, that sounds good, Will. And to finish this one off, MTB Boys says, I'm getting a new one for Christmas. Happy Christmas, MTB Boys. And the final question was, how long is a session for you on the Turbo Trainer? The options were up to 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, 3 hours plus, and then I don't use a Turbo Trainer. And this one is overwhelming. 79% of you do not use a Turbo Trainer. 11% of you use one for up to an hour, 7% 1 to 2 hours, 2% 2 to 3 hours, and 2% more than 3 hours. Me, I can only pretty much hack an hour, just over an hour, mainly because that's the only time I get, and I get a little bit bored after that anyway. Last night I did my first Zwift race and I came 5th. Very pleased with myself. Thank you. Anyway, who cares about me? Let's see what you're saying. Bill Johnson says, I prefer to ride my bike. It's the only way to keep your skills up. Trail Pimp says, I really need to get one of these so I can pedal indoors when the snow and ice comes. I think this is good if you're working from home and do not leave much either. Yes, Trail Pimp, you've got it. Bit of a naughty one here. JNAVL says, I use the Master Bedroom Trainer. Huh? Michael N, no Turbo Trainer for me. Cadog Adventures says, I have no Turbo Trainer. Fancy Clancy says, just ride your bike outside. And Lee Bridgewater uses rollers. Cheers, Lee. There you go, that's another episode of The Hub Show done. Thanks as ever for getting involved. If you want to answer any questions from today's show, click the link down in the description. And to get involved in next week's show, just head to the community tab right now. Have a great weekend, take it easy, ride safe, goodbye. And a big wave. Oh.
Just head to the left a little bit now so I can fit in the wee thing on the right.
Right! Are you ready? No. Okay. When you refresh your helmet, be embedded within the wood now. Is it the glasses?